Thank you, Secretary Ross, for that kind introduction. It's always great to be with you. I know how hard you are working to open markets and ensure greater opportunities for America's farmers. Your efforts are making a tremendous impact. Secretary Ross, congratulations on putting together another successful SelectUSA Summit and for making sure the world knows that America is open for business. It is an honor to be here with you again today. I'd like to begin by updating you on some recent developments. This past weekend, I was pleased to represent the United States at a meeting of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors in Japan. My counterparts and I discussed the state of the global economy and policies we should be considering to foster greater economic growth. We advanced several priorities at the meeting. We discussed ways to continue fighting illicit financing of terrorism and weapons proliferation. We reaffirmed commitments to exchange rate stability and the avoidance of competitive devaluation. We continued our efforts to improve debt transparency and sustainability, to decrease the likelihood of crisis in poor nations, and we also secured commitments from our G20 partners to cooperate on efforts to modernize the international tax system. I look forward to making additional progress on these issues and more when I accompany President Trump to the G20 leaders meeting in Osaka, Japan, later this month. My discussion with other finance ministers has been productive and has reinforced the fact that the United States remains in a position of strength in leadership, having achieved growth rates that many of our trading partners aspire to. There has never been a better time to invest in America. President Trump's economic programs of tax cuts, regulatory relief, and improved trade deals is leading to stronger growth, more jobs, and higher wages. This American model of restoring competitiveness to our economy has led the United States to a period of historic opportunity and optimism for the future. The U.S. experienced 3% GDP growth from Q4 2017 to Q4 2018 for the first time in 13 years. We now have historically low unemployment rate at 3.6%, the lowest since 1969. Average annual hourly earnings growth continues to exceed 3%. Prior to our administration, the U.S. had seen a period of low economic growth, flat wages, and the lowest labor participation rate in decades. This is a similar story today for many economies around the world, from Europe to China. The difference is President Trump's pro-growth policies. The first element of the President's economic agenda is tax cuts. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gave hardworking families more spending power. It cut the federal income tax liability for a typical family earning $75,000 in half, saving them more than $2,000 per year because of lower rates, doubled standard deduction, enhanced tax credits, and other benefits. Thanks to concurrent wage growth, the typically family received an additional $2,500, meaning that at the end of 2018, they could be earning as much as $4,000 more in after-tax income. The law lowered our corporate tax rate from 35% to 21% and permits pass-throughs to deduct 20% of their qualified business income. It further allows the immediate expensing of capital expenditures for 5 years. These measures have helped the United States, a destination once again for manufacturing. The trend is undeniable. Since President Trump's election, we have gained well over 400,000 manufacturing jobs. We've already seen hundreds of billions of dollars invested in the establishment and expansion of U.S. business operations generally. But the manufacturing piece of our expansion really helps to tell the story to investors that you can invest, grow, and succeed here. I also want to highlight Opportunity Zones tax incentive, an important component of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Opportunity zones will ensure that the economic renewal we are experiencing reaches distressed communities. The incentive provides capital gains tax relief for investments in areas that need revitalization. We are seeing greater enthusiasm for this policy from entrepreneurs and communities seeking to partner with one another to make positive social impacts. We are confident that it will help restore the promise of prosperity for more Americans, and I encourage you to look at incentives you consider where to locate your investment, both facilities and workers. To date, we have designated almost 9,000 opportunity zones to promote jobs in low-income communities. The second element of President Trump's program is regulatory relief. We have focused on improving the financial regulatory environment, and the Treasury Department issued a series of reports outlining our findings and recommendations for making financial regulatory conditions more predictable, fair, and efficient. These measures complement our trade efforts, which we aim to break down barriers to markets around the world. We have been working with China to achieve concrete changes to our trading relationship and structural reforms and practices such as forced technology transfers and intellectual property to open their economy. President Trump remains committed to addressing unfair trade practices in China. I must also highlight the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. This deal will modernize our trading relationships in North America and create some of the highest standards ever to protect intellectual property rights and support small and medium-sized businesses and encourage manufacturing. I am hopeful that Congress will move quickly to pass legislation implementing this important trade deal. Additionally, we are focused on ensuring that our business environment is conducive to the United States maintaining a leadership role in the industries of the future. Nearly $8 trillion, or 38% of U.S. GDP, is linked to knowledge and technology-intensive industries. We will continue to support intellectual property protection and entrepreneurship, and we will focus on workforce development to meet the needs of our evolving economy. This means we are making scientific research a priority, as well as advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. The U.S. is facilitating the development of infrastructure and freeing up spectrum for 5G use. We anticipate that the American wireless industry will invest $275 billion in 5G networks, creating 3 million new jobs and adding $500 billion to our economy. We are working with the private sector and educational institutions to make sure that workers receive the training they need to fill the needs of company leading ways in tech. As a result of President Trump's economic reforms, the World Economic Forum's most recent competitive report named the United States the most competitive economy in the world for the first time in 10 years. We are proud to be a country where business can grow and thrive, and we are proud to welcome foreign investment. I encourage you to join us in our economic renewal. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.